I want to look now at that $500,000 payment from Columbus Nova. I mentioned that company and the Russian oligarch Viktor Vekselberg and his connections to the Trump family and associates. First of all, his cousin, Andrew Intrater, the CEO of Columbus Nova, paid $500,000 on behalf of the company to the shell company run by Michael Cohen, President Trump's personal lawyer. But Intrater and Columbus Nova also donated $250,000 to President Trump's inauguration, according to campaign finance records. Intrater and Vekselberg both attended the inauguration, and according to the New York Times, the pair met Michael Cohen there just after the inauguration. Documents show that Columbus Nova paid Cohen's shell company, Essential Consulting, $500,000 for, you guessed it, consulting work. Vekselberg was also at the now infamous 2015 dinner in Moscow, where one-time National Security Advisor Michael Flynn sat at a table with Vladimir Putin. Vekselberg also controlled a company that owned the largest number of shares in the Bank of Cyprus, according to the New York Times. Now, Trump's Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, was also an investor in the Bank of Cyprus, and it's the bank that former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort held accounts listed by the special counsel as part of an alleged money laundering scheme. This is crazy. But that's not it. There's one more connection. Vekselberg attended a gala in 2014 thrown by yet another Russian oligarch, attended by Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and daughter Ivanka Trump. Back in Russia, one of Vekselberg's business partners is Alpha Group head, the man on the right, German Khan. Khan, interesting character. Guess who his son-in-law is? Alex van der Zwaan. He just reported to a low-level security prison in Pennsylvania on Monday. He's the first person in Mueller's investigation to be sentenced. Remember him? He's serving time for giving false statements to the FBI over contact with cooperating witnesses. Rick Gates is cooperating with this. And he was also alleged to have had a conversation with a Russian intelligence operative. Gates served, by the way, as a campaign aide to President Trump, and he's working with the special counsel in the Russia probe. Whew. I need a break. That's nuts. Okay. Joining me now to make sense of this is MSNBC's legal analyst, Nick Ackerman. Nick is also the former assistant special Watergate prosecutor. He's a partner at Dorsey and Whitney. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's absolutely dynamite. I mean, what you have here, when you put it in context of all the evidence, is evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russians. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Christopher Steele investigative reports. I mean, what Michael Cohen's role was simply the same role that he was carrying out with respect to the Stormy Daniels case. I mean, just to give you one quote from that report, according to the Kremlin insider, Cohen now is heavily engaged in a cover-up and damage limitation operation in the attempt to prevent the full details of Trump's relationship with Russia being exposed. All you have to do is substitute Stormy Daniels in there for Russia.
So a point that you've made for a long time is that anything we're reporting today on TV, Mueller knows about and has known for a long time.
A long time.
So casually in conversation, I don't know if people do this to you, but they sort of tell me, look, there are a lot of disparate parts to the story that just seem to be coincidence. And with each passing revelation, there's less and less coincidence. A whole bunch of people at the same party, a whole bunch of people at the same event, a whole bunch of people funneling money through the same lawyer.
And if you start talking about funneling money, if you go on further in these reports, they say that one of the items that was discussed between Cohen and various Russians in Europe in the summer of 2016 was how they were going to bury the Russian hackers to get them out of circulation, buy them off, use money to hide them so that they wouldn't be uncovered, and the whole break-in to the Democratic National Committee would not be tied to the Trump campaign.
Because the story about following money, on one hand, is where did it come from, and we're starting to get that now. We're starting to get this information. Some of it's from Russians, some of it, weirdly, is from publicly traded companies or companies that wanted to do business with the administration. But now we're talking about $4.4 million that went into this podunk account set up days before the election. That's fascinating. First Republic Bank, which it seems reported this to authorities because they thought the activity in this account was a little weird. Most Americans thought the most shocking thing that happened in that bank account was that a check was cut to Stormy Daniels. That may be the most interesting.
That is the least of the problems that they have. This is the reason why the White House wanted to to get rid of this search warrant, why they attacked the search warrant. What these allegations and what this evidence is going to do is totally undercut Congressman Nunes's whole attack on Christopher Steele and the dossier he put together. It's going to provide evidence of conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russians and the break-in to the Democratic National Committee headquarters and the hacking of all those emails and the use of those emails to get Trump elected. I mean, all of this starts to fit together. I mean, even Rudy Giuliani basically gives us the best point here is that Cohen just did these things. He buried things. This is exactly what the Christopher Steele report says. It's just he doesn't talk about Stormy Daniels because the Russians couldn't have cared less.
They didn't care. Stormy Daniels was not really their issue. This is truly amazing. Nick, thanks very much. Nick Ackerman, former Assistant Special Watergate Prosecutor.